Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today, we have the Plow Sodbuster coming to you from Maserin Cutlery in Italy via CollectorKnives.net. This is another one of their cool collaborations, much like the Lion Steel Roundhead that I recently reviewed. What they do is they basically come up with a design and they find somebody to make it for the correct price. And the correct price on this is pretty cheap. This one is $35 with the micarta handles. This is the most expensive version. There's a $30 version that comes with either Bacote wood handles or Santos wood handles. Choose your own adventure. D2 steel blade. And as they word it, D2 steel blade for $30, you get the rest for free. Which, I don't know, you can find some really nice modern stuff with D2 for that price. But, anywho, very cool knife. Very glad I got my hands on it. Kind of weird how I found it. I didn't know it existed, so I'm hoping this review will show some other people it existed. I found it because I'm doing another one of those knife challenges. I had the 5 knives for $500, and now I'm working on one for 5 knives for $250, and I needed a slip joint, and I discovered this. And I was just going to put pictures of it up, but I thought, you know what, I like it enough. I think I may actually buy it, and I'm glad I did. It's pretty cool. I really, really like it. It's a as I said, a Sodbuster, as the name would. It's kind of, they call it a medium Sodbuster, but it's a little bit smaller than your average medium Sodbuster. By that I mean, might as well get into the stats. Let's do that. Since let me pull up my noties here. Wasn't planning on doing that this early in the review, but we have a blade length of just under 3.5 inches. You have an overall length of just under 7.5 inches, weight of 3 ounces, very thin little slicey 0.09 inch blade, and an overall width is pretty thick, 0.74 inches. This is a pretty thick, nicely rounded, comfortable handle, but it is pretty wide. As I said, made in Italy, satin finish blade. Pretty neat knife. We're gonna do some size. I do like aesthetics and stuff here, but we're gonna do some size comparisons because the size comparisons are going to get into some more stuff. I have a knife, the last one I'm gonna do the size comparison on, that compares pretty well to this price wise. So there's gonna be a little mini comparison in the middle of this review. Not a full on battle to death. I don't think it's worth doing that, but I got something else that compares pretty well to it that I want to expand on more. So we're gonna save some stuff till later. Size comparison, just for consistency's sake, not at all in kind of the same category of knife, but as I said, this is a budget, modern, traditional. This is not that, either of those things. The Spyderco Delica 4. And also for consistency, because I use it a lot for size comparisons now, your Chris Reeve Large Sebenza. All right, now let's compare it to some size comparisons, some stuff that it actually kind of compares with. Another modern traditional, the one I mentioned before, the Lion Steel Roundhead. Also, Collector Knives, much more expensive knife, but similar in overall idea. And the Benchmade Proper. Now, the last one I'm going to compare this to is one I'm going to expand on a little bit. So, this, as I said, is a $35 knife, and Collector Knives is super honest. It even says, I'm looking at their site right now, this is an economy knife. Like, they really downplay this thing, and I don't know why. It's a pretty good knife. But when I got it, yeah, there were a few little fit and finish things that I was like, there was this brass on the back. It's got brass liners, and the brass was a little rough. But, you know, I rubbed it over a strap block for 15 seconds, and it's fine. The action was a little gritty because there are no bushings or anything in this. This is a very traditional traditional construction, but it just has a D2 blade is the only thing that really makes it a more modern. Other than that, it's very traditional construction. So there were just a little things, but you know, the important stuff is good. The blade centering is dead on. I like that. You know, I didn't have to like squish any pins or anything like that. It works. It works very well. Then you know, also one little other thing. There was this on the Tang. It's a little crappy finish there, but you know, it's a $35 knife, and what Collector Knives said themselves, that they told Maserin to make a knife to a budget, and that's what they did. But I like the aesthetics of it. I like the way it looks. This isn't the prettiest micarta I've ever seen, but it's pretty nice. It's very well finished. It's nice and sanded off. It's, some micarta like on the propper is a bit rougher and has a bit more character. I guess I kind of prefer that to this kind of polished-ish sort of micarta. But all the brass touches look nice. I have no problems with the aesthetic of it. I think it looks pretty good, actually. The wood ones maybe even look a little bit better, I think, now that I've seen this one in person. I'm thinking maybe the wood ones may even look a little bit better, and they're $5 cheaper. But I'm a micarta addict, so it's not surprising I got that one. But after looking at those fit and finish things, I thought, well, maybe I should look at what's a $30 case like, that's similar to this, an actual, quote-unquote, actual traditional. So I got a Case Sodbuster. This is their medium Sodbuster. And as I said, Collector Knives calls this a medium Sodbuster, but the Case medium Sodbuster is quite a bit larger, so I'm not going to do a full comparison on these because they are quite a bit different in size. But this is what you get from Case for $30. So I thought it'd be a good thing to compare. And you know what? I was a bit disappointed with a couple things in this, but if you spend $30 at Case, you don't get any better. I mean, some of the edges are smoother. The action is maybe 5% smoother, but both of them I had to put oil in them and work them to get them to be smooth. This smoothed out a little bit more than that, but it's got a little bit of blade play, which would explain probably why it's smooth, where this has none. And the blade centering on this is atrocious. I mean, it's pretty much slammed all the way against the right-hand side, and both of these being pinned together construction, there's nothing you can do about it. So that's very important. So I have to say the fit and finish on this is better than a Case. Yeah, it's smoother in some little edges and stuff, but on the important stuff, the Maserin is better. So, well done. I was all prepared to knock it on fit and finish, honestly, until I got this very comparable Case. And, you're getting D2 steel in this. This is the True Sharp stuff, which isn't bad, but it's not D2, So I have to say the fit and finish on this is actually pretty good for a $35 modern traditional. It's pretty damn good. So a Collector Knives calls this like a knife you throw in your toolbox or something. It's a lot nicer than that. I'm not going to use it like that. I actually have been carrying it, and I actually really like it. Now let's get into the actual particulars of this knife instead of this halfway comparison. As I said, nice thin slicey blade, D2 steel, and it's very thin behind the edge. This is exactly the feel you'd expect. One of the great things about traditionals and modern traditionals is most of them are great little slicers. They slice through your usual EDC task awesomely well. The Sodbuster was originally designed, as the name would indicate, for like a farmer, so they wanted a knife that would do everything, and this is a blade that'll do everything, especially in the D2 steel. D2 holds a good edge. It's not horribly hard to sharpen, and it's not the most corrosion resistant in the world, but it's not bad. It's just below what you'd call a stainless, but I wouldn't mind if this got a bit of patina on it. I actually wouldn't mind a bit on this particular knife. Some knives I'm really paranoid about that. I don't want any patina, but this I wouldn't mind. It's fine. Very, very good slicey little blade. I've worked with it a lot more than I expected to because we're going to meld into the ergos here also. This thick handle, yeah, you do notice it in your pocket, but in your hand, it's a very comfortable knife for working really hard. It really is. And the pull on it is pretty good. I'm not worried about the spring tension's pretty good. I'm not worried about it closing on me. And if it does, I got to stop to hit on it. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is a good working knife. It really, really is. It's very comfortable. The steel is a work-a-day hardcore steel, and it's pretty easy to sharpen, and it's just so comfortable to use. I really do like that about it. Now, in the carry, yes, it is pretty thick, but it didn't really bother me. It's so contoured that it's not as bad as you'd think. It's not like my Rhodey or even my Roundhead, that it's something that often I will have two knives in one pocket. I'll just throw a slip joint in the bottom of my pocket, and I'll have a more modern folder, clipped to the top of the pocket. This is a little too big for that. But other than that, like it's a pretty good. It's not too bad to carry. It's not bad at all. If you just throw it in the bottom of your pocket, you don't notice it a whole lot. Will be great to throw in your EDC pack or something like that. It's only 3 ounces. The weight's pretty good, especially given that blade handle thickness. The weight's pretty good. Now the deployment, as I said before, I did have to lube it quite heavily and work it quite a bit, but now that I have, opens and shuts really well. The pull on it, I would rate it what everyone else rates it, pretty much a 5 or a 6. It's pretty similar to other stuff that I have that are also rated that, pretty similar to like the Case or my Roundhead or my Proper. The only issue I have with the deployment, and it's being very nitpicky for this price, but because, for example, for this same price, the Case Sodbuster has no half stop at all, where this has a half stop and it works fine, but it doesn't have like a click, you know, like my Roundhead, which is unfair because it's 4 times the price. The Roundhead, you know, here, we'll just bring it out here. The Roundhead's half stop, click, and it's a very solid half stop. This doesn't, it takes the same amount of effort to push through the half stop. I'm not trying to say like it's going to close on you or anything. It just doesn't have that satisfying click. It stops somewhere between there and there. You know, it's just not that solid click in the half stop. So I'm being picky. For this price, I'm just being picky. But I do like it. And as I said, I do like that if it does close on you, it's got a little tang there to grab your finger so you're not going to hit blade, which is really nice. So I'm just being nitpicky. And overall, yeah, I have to say that I think if you watch Collector Knives' own video about this, I think they undersell this a little bit. It's not a knife to throw in your toolbox. It's a knife to pull. I'd pull this out anywhere and be proud to have it. And it's $35. Would I pay more than that? No, probably not. It's I think they priced it dead on right. And D2 steel is a great steel. It looks good enough. It works good enough. Very comfortable. I think that's the biggest thing I like about this is that thickness of that handle. It's super ergonomic. It's a really good knife. And I recommend it especially for that price. So I've been Brian. Hope you've enjoyed this. Have a good one.